Hey guys, this is E with Scrapbooking with me, and this is what we're going to make today. This is a door hanger, and it's for a costume party. I've got tissue paper right here, and I've got my little invitation written on that, and then it's just stuck inside this little circle. Now, this is supposed to be like that candy that you can get that the ends are twisted. And then this is supposedly the moon with an owl in front of it. And then this little container has just some of that old dead looking grass in there with some candy bars. And I'll just hang this on their doorknob. This is good for block parties when you don't want to mail something next door. You just go over there and hang it on their doorknob. These are quick and easy to make. I will have all the instructions, the PDFs, the written instructions, everything on my blog, and that will be linked below. All right, let's get started making these. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of cardstock, and this one is cut at 9 by 8, I do believe. Yes, 9 by 8. On the 8-inch side, you're going to score at 4 inches, right down the center. Okay. And then we're going to fold and burnish this really well. There we go. Now these two pieces are going to be glued together. I'm just doing this to make this a little bit stronger. And I'm going to take my art glitter glue and I'm just going to run it around in here and glue these together. You can use double-sided tape if you want to. Just something that's kind of strong. You want this to stick well. Okay, then we're just going to turn that over there, press it down. I'm going to use my bone folder. Make sure that it's nice and pressed together. Okay. Now all we need to do is put our mat on here. We'll want to put our mat on first before we cut our hole. So I've got some paper, and this is just some really inexpensive paper that I got a long time ago. But you guys know that I don't have Halloween paper. So I'm just going to use fall colors, that kind of thing. And this is just some cheap Recollections paper that I got. I didn't sell, I just got it because I needed a couple of the colors out of it for my grandkid, a project that they had. So I just got some really inexpensive because all we did was made a little project, and then the rest of it's just been stored away in my stash. But this is that paper that you can't really do very much with or it'll tear. So, right. And put that down right there. And I'm going to press it down well too. I don't want any bubbles in it. Now we're going to take this over to my Big Shot and we're going to cut a hole. And what I did is I took one of my circle dies and I just put it around a standard doorknob to make sure that it would fit. And it did. So I'm going to put it about like that. I want it a good ways from the top because I don't want it to tear out. So let's see about what this is. This is about, it's 5/8 from the top. And then it's just about a 1/2 inch in from each side. So I'm going to take it to my Big Shot, cut this out, and then we'll be right back. Now my Big Shot will cut through all of this without a shim. But if you're having problems with yours, you may need to put a shim on there and run it through a couple of times. I'm trying to get this tape up real carefully. There we go. Alright, so there's our opening that we need. There's our doorknob. And then I took just 2 of my dies. I took this same one that I cut the hole out with. And then I took the next size up, which is this one. And I just put them together like that right there. Taped them down. And then used a black piece of cardstock and I ran that through my Big Shot and I got this circle. And this will go right around that opening to kind of dress it up just a little bit. Goes around the opening just like that. And I know that's hard for you to see on that black, but there you can see it on that. Okay. So lay that aside. Let's go ahead and glue this down. And I'm just going to run a little bit of art glitter glue around the edges. While we're talking about art glitter glue, make sure that you go over and stock up on your art glitter glue now, because if it is getting cold in your area, and I know in Colorado, Montana, different places like that, it's getting cold, and up in the mountains it's starting to snow. So if it is getting cold in your area, make sure that you go ahead and stock up on your art glitter glue, because once it gets down below freezing, we can't ship it anymore. Okay, we've got the back part of it done, so we're going to lay this aside. We're going to pull out our scoreboard again, and then we have a piece of cardstock that is 12 inches by 5.5. Now on the 5.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1.5 inches all the way down, and then you're going to turn it, and it doesn't matter which way you turn it because both of these are going to be the same. Then you're going to score it at 1.5. Let me look at my instructions over here that I have written down for myself. 5 1/4, 6 3/4, and 10 1/2. Oops, move my paper. 10 1/2. So let's go over those again. That is 1.5, 5 1/4, 6 3/4, and 10 1/2. And keep in mind, all of these measurements, links to products, everything will be over on my blog. And I have changed my blog. My blog is now on my website. It just makes it easier to have everything in one spot. So if you will go over there, that link will be directly below. It'll have all of the measurements, photos, and links to SVGs or PDFs in case you don't have the circle dies and things like that. Then I will have as much information over there as I can possibly get together for you. And all of that information will be free as usual. You don't have to pay anything for that. But on my blog, you will notice, and a lot of people have asked me this question, so I'm going to go ahead and go over it now. On my blog, you'll notice that I have some little ads over at the right-hand side. That is how I make any money that I make off of the SVGs and PDFs and things that I furnish you guys. So if you see any of those little ads, if you just click on them, you don't have to purchase anything. If you just click on it and go to that ad, then they send me just a few cents. Usually it's like maybe 2 cents, 3 cents, whatever. So that's how I make money for my PDFs and SVGs. And also any of my affiliate links that I have down below, if you click on those and you make a purchase, it doesn't cost you any more, but I get just a small portion of that. That just helps me support my YouTube channel and keep making the SVGs and PDFs for you guys. So I just wanted to throw that in there. A lot of people don't know that and don't really understand it, but I just wanted to let you know that that is how I make what money I do make to help support my channel and keep sending you the free files that I do. Alright, all I did was cut up, straight up on all of these, and then I'm going to cut this one down here off because we don't need it. So just cut that piece off. So you have this, and then we're just going to put some adhesive on this little part right here. And again, I'm going to use my art glitter glue because I know it's going to hold well. And then I'm just going to fold this over, and it should just match right up with it. Should just flatten right out there. Run my bone folder over it just to make sure that it presses down well. This is also our Teflon bone folder. Love that. I did not know what I was missing when I was using a regular bone folder. I had no clue. And I'm not just saying that to sell them either. I promise you, you will know the difference when you use a Teflon bone folder. Alright, finding my back side. This is the back. This is going to be the front. So what we're going to do is fold those two in, fold this one over, and then fold that one that way. So as from the front, all you're seeing is rounded corners. You're not seeing any raw edges. So I'm going to put my adhesive right here. And then I'm just going to get it as straight as I can and fold that over, just like that. And then I'll sit it up and take my bone folder and go down in there and press that down. There we go. So there's our little box. And it's going to sit on here just like that. That's going to hold our goodies and our invitation. But before we put it on there, I'm going to go ahead and do some mats for it. And again, I have cut that really inexpensive paper. And these side mats and the one for the bottom, they're cut at 1 1/4 by 3 3/4. So we're just going to center those up. There. And then this is my back side. Now let's see. This is the front. This is the back. So I'm just going to mark the back. It makes it easier for me to remember. I don't have to put any paper there because that's going to be hidden. It's going to be glued down to our other piece. So then we're going to put this one down. I'm going to go ahead and put one on the bottom just in case their doorknob is up high and somebody can see, then they'll see paper on the bottom as well and not just the brown paper there. Whoops, I think I cut that one a little bit too long. All right, I'm just going to clip it off. Okay, so let me tell you the size of this one, the correct size. It is 1 1/4 wide. And it is 3 1/2 long. So let's change that to 1 1/4 by 3 1/2 for the bottom. Okay. All right. And now we got our X there. So we're going to put our mat on the front. This mat is cut at 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. There you go. So we've got those on there. I'm just going to lay it down and put my bone folder in there so I can press that down. And that's going to glue just like that. You're going to have just a tiny bit of that brown showing on each side when you glue your box on there. So we can go ahead and glue that down, and I'm going to use my art glitter glue for that too. That way it'll give me a little bit of wiggle room. I'll be able to move it around if I need to. I'm going to put it right down at the bottom of my paper mat and then run it right up the sides of that mat as well. And I'll pick it up and look at it just to make sure that it looks pretty good, and that does. And then I'm just going to take my bone folder again and I'll run it in there. Just make sure that that's pressed down really well. And there we go. We've got our little box on our door hanger. And now we cut out a black circle and then a yellow circle. This is going to be like our little moon. And all I did was I used some of my dies again. I used this one and this one. And the measurements for these dies will be in the instructions. So I'll put, you know, how big they are, what size they are, that kind of thing. So in case you have a punch or something like that that you want to use, you can do that. I know sometimes I forget to put the actual size of the circles, and I apologize for that. Just remind me if I do, and I'll be happy to give it to you. Alright, so we're going to put this up on some pop dots. So I'm going to kind of put that up at the corner right there. And then we're going to put our moon up on pop dots as well. Let's see, that looks about right. Okay, so press that down. And then we have something a little bit different. This is going to be how we're going to do our invite. I have a piece of cardstock, and this is just some that I cut off the side of that black. This is 3/4 inches wide, and I'm going to cut it off about, let's see, I'm guessing here, so then I'll measure it for you. This is cut at 4 inches. Then I'm going to take my scoring tool here, and these tools will be linked below as well. They make really good little tools to break down the fiber in your paper. So you just take it and run over that. You can pull it pretty hard. You don't have to worry about it breaking because you don't have a sharp edge on this. A lot better than the bone folder. I have broke a few with the bone folder. So, alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and I'm just going to wrap it around, and it may be a little bit long. If it is, I'll trim it off. Now, I think I'm going to keep that thickness, but I'm going to loosen it up just a little bit. So I've got it, let's see about what my circle is turning out to be. It is about 5/8 inches across. So if you make it about 5/8, that would be good. Probably, let's see, one of the Nuvo pens would be good to do that. Just some kind of circle that's about 5/8 inches. Then go ahead and put your glue on there, and then just glue that down. We're making that little circle. I'm going to hold that just a second because that paper wants to release naturally, so we're just going to hold it for a second. Okay, that's going to go right there. But then I'll show you what I did. I'm going to lay this aside just a moment. Now, I took a piece of, this is just like a piece of deli paper, you'll see here. Just really thin deli paper. And I taped it down to just a regular piece of printer paper. And then I printed "You're Invited, Costume Party, October 31st, 7 p.m. And I just put 1234 Spooky Drive, but of course you could put your real address on there. And then what we're going to do is just kind of cut it. Well, I think I'll use my trimmer and see if I can trim it. I may have to cut it with my scissors. You don't have to get it straight, just trim it off. I'm going to leave just a little bit at the bottom and the top. I can't run deli paper directly through my printer, but I can run it through if I tape it down to regular printer paper like that. Alright, so we have our little invitation here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to roll this invitation up. And I have just one of those huge straws that like Dairy Queen gives you that I hate to drink out of. I save these and I use them in my projects. I don't drink out of them, but I save them and I use them in my projects. So what we're doing is we're going to roll that up around that straw. And I'm going to pull the straw out. Now, all I did was I just got it to where it would roll, and I'm going to take about, I'm going to take about that much of that straw, and I'm going to cut it off. Let's see what size this is. This is 1 3/4 inches, and I know everybody's got some old straws and things out there that you could use. If you don't, go to Dairy Queen and get you a drink. And they'll give you one of these old big plastic straws that I don't like to drink out of. There you go. We're going to put that like that. And I'm not going to glue this down because I want my recipient to be able to open it easily. So I'm just going to put a little glue dot on there. Just a little teeny glue dot. Now my straw is in there. So I'm going to make sure that my straw is about in the center. And then I'm just going to take the ends. You've seen the candy that everybody gives out at this time of year. It's got the twisted ends on it. So I'm going to take these ends and I'm just going to twist them up. Just like that. This one looks a little bit larger, so I'm just going to trim it off just a tiny bit. So there we go. There's our little piece of candy. And then we're going to stick that candy right in there. And I am going to put another pop dot on the bottom of this just so it will stick inside here, because I don't want it to lose out while it's hanging on their door. And if they have to scramble a little bit to get into this package, that's okay. They'll have fun with that. These little things are so good to send out to when you're having block parties and things like that. They're good to just go around and put on your neighbor's doorknobs to invite them to the party. Alright, so we got that there. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and glue this down right here at the bottom. And we'll put our little piece of candy in there. So we'll hold that down. Now you could dress this up even more by putting some little ribbons around the ends of it, but I'm going to leave mine just as is. I think that's neat enough. And then we want to put something on our moon here. Alright, we're going to use this little owl. As much as I dislike owls, we are going to use this. But I'm going to go ahead and trim this white part off. This is just a sticker that I've had in my stash. I don't use them very often because I don't really like owls, but we're going to use this on here. I would use a black cat, but I don't have one and I don't really want to take the time to cut one out. So we're just going to use this little owl. This one doesn't look so bad. Alright, there's our little owl trimmed out, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to go around the edges, and just to hide any imperfections that I did on cutting. This is just a brown alcohol marker. Make sure you hold your marker toward the back side in case you slip. That way you won't mess up your cutout. Alright, so there is our little owl all trimmed up. And again, I'm going to put him up on pop dots. Gives our project some dimension. And we're just going to sit him I'm going to sit him kind of right there, but I don't want him to look like he's hanging in mid-air. So I think I'm going to try to find a little branch or something and put right across there. I may just cut one out. Okay, here's a little tree that was in our sticker pack that I've had for a while, and I'm just going to trim part of this off and use this to sit our little owl on so it doesn't look like he's just hanging in midair. Let's see. So I think we can trim it right there, and I can still use the top part of this for something else. And I'm just going to trim some of that white off. Alright, we have our little branch trimmed out, but I do want to, I'm going to pop it up a little bit, and I'm going to have to trim these little pop dots really, really tiny in order to be able to do that. So I'm just going to flip him over. Okay, we're going to press this down about like that. And then I'm just going to trim this bottom off right here. There we go. We've got our little owl sitting on a branch now. And then I'm going to trim this off over here on this side. And I'm just going to leave that kind of loose, so it'll kind of stand up a little bit. And I did go ahead and go over that with my alcohol marker. I just wanted to make that branch really dark. So I went over it a little bit with my alcohol marker. And then we've got him there. There's our little invitation. And then we're just going to put a couple of pieces of bling on here. And I think I will put some brown up here at the top. Put a couple of pieces. Put one there. One over here. And then maybe one right in here. Then I'm just going to take a couple of fall leaves off of the sticker sheet. And I'm going to put those on there just to kind of make that look a little bit more interesting. And then I'll put a piece of bling right in the center of that to kind of hide those little ends there. There we go. Alright, then I'm going to take another piece of my deli paper. I'm going to crunch it up. Make sure I don't crunch him up and put him down on the bottom. Then I'm going to take some of this grass or straw, whatever you want to call it, that makes a big mess. Put it right there. And then put some over here on this side. Cute. And then we're going to take some candy bars, about 3 candy bars, and put in here. And I had to hide these from my grandkids. They was trying to eat all of them, and I told them I needed them for a project. But that didn't matter to them. They wanted the candy. Alright, I'm going to tuck the candy back in the back, away from the straw, and I will let you see everything in just a second. Let's do one more. These are a little bit, you could probably use the smaller candy bars and it'd be better, but that's okay. We're going to do it this way. Just like that. And then I think I'm going to tuck a little bit of that grass in the back behind the candy bars. Just going to crunch it up and put it back there in the back. Just makes it look like it's all in straw there. Cute. I like that. I am going to hang even though I'm not having a Halloween party or a costume party, I'm going to hang this on a friend's door just for fun. I think it will be fun. I think she'll get a kick out of it when she opens it up and sees what I put in the note, because she knows I don't really do costume parties. Not anymore. I did a long time ago. We did a lot of them, but too much trouble now for me. But they are a lot of fun. But anyway, this is the door hanger. I will have, as I said, on my blog, and that link will be directly below, all of the instructions, the photos, the PDFs, SVGs, anything like that that I can put over there, I will. And I want you to let me know in the comments below if you have a costume party. And if you do, and you're going to have one this year, what are you going to dress up as? I want to know. I'd like to know that. All right, guys, we will talk to you later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.